What's going on, everybody? It's Adrian from over here at Pipe Dream Hookah, and today we're going to continue the mini-series that I told you guys all about about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. It's on the Al Fakhamah Iced Tea mini-series. It's going to be 3 different Al Fakhamah Iced Tea flavor reviews, and if you want to count this as canon, about a year ago I did a review on Al Fakhamah Grapefruit Iced Tea, and I definitely go check that out if you're interested in the flavor because it's very good. But today we are going to be reviewing Al Fakhamah Peach Iced Tea. Before I get into anything, I'm going to let you know what my setup is. It's going to be 3 titanium flats on top of an alpaca Apache medium. Yeah, that's a medium, packed, obviously fluff packed with the Al Fakhamah Peach packing method coming at the end of the series, so I can link them all in the videos. I just haven't done it as more time consuming. It's a bit more time consuming. Caffeine in the morning. Then I've got my white matte pear, which I've been using extensively in the podcast. It's probably seen like 200 bowls since I got it about 2 months ago. So this is a well-used hookah. And the host to match lug base, and no tip today because I'm actually using it to hold the mic in place. But just like normal on these Pipe Dream Hookah tobacco reviews, we're going to check out the scent of the tobacco, the flavor, and the cloud output, as well as a few other minor things before we go into actually giving it a final rating out of 7 towards the end of the video, and letting you know whether I'd recommend picking it up or not. Let's go ahead and start with the scent of the tobacco. Peaches. Peaches come through really strong, but one thing that hits me in the nose, like the first time I smell it, and I have to check again just to make sure, but the iced tea flavor probably is the most prominent in the peach iced tea, as opposed to the lemon iced tea, or the, I think lemon iced tea is the one I reviewed last time, and passion fruit iced tea is the last one in the series. This one for me has been the strongest iced tea scent, and we'll get into the flavor in a moment, but it really just smells like a peach iced tea. The iced tea is like a black tea. It's kind of a motif from all the Al Fakhamah iced tea flavors. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and check out the clouds that this stuff can produce. So as you can see, the clouds that this stuff produces are going to be outstanding. For those of you with a good eye, you may have caught that I added a provost to this setup. Unfortunately, sometimes I set my coals down and get ready for the video. They burn down a little too much, and the clouds weren't exactly where I liked them. And I could have probably waited for a little bit for the session to get a little bit further in, maybe like 10 minutes, where the clouds really start to open up and you get these massive clouds. But I wanted to expedite the process by introducing a provost to the setup. So if you caught that, good for you. If you didn't, transparency. But yeah, the clouds are going to be outstanding. Big, puffy, fluffy, white clouds, no complaints. This should not surprise you if you're familiar with Al Fakhamah. And if you're not, this is not just going to be the case for the Al Fakhamah iced tea flavors, but all Al Fakhamah straight down the line. Now let's move on to the most important thing when we're critically analyzing any shisha tobacco, and that's going to be the flavor. And we're going to check the flavor output on both the inhale and the exhale, just so we can accurately describe the entire experience you're going to have if you decide to pick this stuff up and smoke it. As usual in this channel, we're going to start with the inhale. Okay, so on the inhale, this tobacco is doing an amazing job, as Al Fakhamah normally does, at translating the scent of the tobacco into the actual flavor of the tobacco. Like I said, in the scent, we're getting a strong peach flavor, and I didn't really go deep into that peach. It's not natural or artificial. It's somewhere in the between, probably leaning a little bit more towards kind of an artificial peach. That's just my opinion on just the inhale, and that's just because it is a little bit sweet, and I'm losing some of that, I don't know what the best way to describe it is, that like full hearty peach flavor. It's very hollow compared to the iced tea flavor in the actual flavor of the tobacco. But that's just the inhale, so it might change a little bit on the exhale, we're not sure yet. But the iced tea flavor is coming through in full force, that black iced tea. It's not really a cooling effect, which I was kind of hoping for when I picked up the Al Fakhamah iced tea line, and that's because iced teas are normally served on ice, so I thought maybe they would put some type of a cooling agent in it, and maybe they did, but I'm very, very numb to mint because I smoke mint with most things, so I'm not really picking up any cooling, just the nice iced tea flavor and a little bit of that kind of a hollow peach flavor. It's not really very dense. So let's go ahead and check the flavor potency on the exhale before we go ahead and overly criticize this tobacco for not having kind of a natural peach flavor. So exhale time. Okay, so on the exhale, what's really going to happen is the iced tea profile is going to drop down in potency a little bit. It's still going to be there in full force, but instead of full force being like 70-60% of the flavor, it's going to drop down to 40. And I wouldn't say that the peach comes up a little bit. You generally get an overall flavor saturation decrease on the exhale, and that's the case for most shisha tobaccos. But the peach doesn't really repair itself on the exhale. It's still going to be kind of a hollow, artificial peach, not totally candied, but not totally natural, somewhere in the middle, and that might just come from the fact that he had to mix peach with the actual iced tea to get this flavor profile, so that could be the case, but the exhale still does a good job of representing the scent we actually picked up from the tobacco, which is going to be a peach iced tea. Now before we go ahead and rate this tobacco on the 7 scale, let's go ahead and go over a few other things that go into how this tobacco performs, starting with how does it take heat. You'll know that from the last video, if you watched it, I'll leave a link in the description if you haven't. I would have told you that Al Fakhamah takes heat just outstanding. It's kind of hard to burn, it's very resilient. You want a little bit more heat than you put on something a little more fragile, like a Fakher. It can handle quite a bit more heat than that, but it's not really going to burn, so that's awesome. And as far as flavor potency, the potency, like I said, is going to be pretty strong, more so on the inhale than the exhale, but the peach isn't quite as potent as I would like it to be, and that's probably just a subjective thing coming from me, so I'm not going to be too critical on that. And then how long does it burn for? And the short answer to that is about an hour and a half or 2 rounds of flats. You can probably get it to cook. In a bowl this small, I might only go like a round and a half of flats, unfortunately, or just wait till they're like halfway burned down and add 2 more flats to the burner, and kind of use the 3 shrunken coals to make its own flat so we don't waste too many coals, since it's not gonna get the entire session anyway. And then really quick, unless you're not an experienced smoker, or maybe you've starved yourself before smoking, you normally will get a head buzz when you do that. But if you're smoking properly and you stay hydrated, there's gonna be no head buzz associated with anything from Al Fakhamah's blonde line. I'm gonna be doing some reviews in the Darkland stuff coming up soon, but that stuff is a different story. It's gonna give you a crazy head buzz. So if you're a newer smoker, be careful with the Al Fakhamah Midnight line. Now let's go ahead and rate this stuff on the 7 scale, and I'm just gonna cut straight to it. This is gonna get a solid 6 out of 7. It's an outstanding flavor. Flavor potency is good. I'm not gonna dock any points for not having as much peach because it's probably the way they had to make it. And then it's not going to go higher because it's not like the most phenomenal peach flavor I've ever had, and it's not the best iced tea flavor, but it's definitely not going to go below a 6 for all the reasons I said before. Great longevity, great burn time, well that's the same thing as longevity, but great flavor potency, and you're not going to burn your tobacco, so that's all really good stuff. Anyway, that's just about going to do it for this one, everybody. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, happy smoking.